Hello, it's good to be back. I wanted to share this conversation I had with Jesus just a couple days ago. I actually asked him a question. I was wondering what his perspective was on the study of the Torah. For many years, I've struggled in this area. How much to observe of the Mosaic Law, or the first 5 books of the Hebrew Scriptures. How much we are supposed to do according to that law as Christians, as believers in Jesus Christ. And so I asked him, and this is what he showed me. Jesus lifts me to his lap and opens up a storybook for me to read with him. Jesus reads, "There once was a king who lived in a tall and beautiful castle. He would watch his people from the window of his highest spire where his throne room was. Few desired to come near him for fear of his power and authority. Many rumors were spread in his kingdom about him, his family, and even his kingship. So, one day he decided to write down his law for his people, because much injustice was happening not only to them by others, but also to one another. The king sent one of his servants to take the letter to his people, hoping they would not only know and respect him more, but also respect each other. At first, his people rejoiced at hearing from their king, but soon returned to their old ways as well as the ways of the other people around them. The king knew he could not come to his people, for they would flee from him in terror. Therefore, he decided to send his only son, who knew not only of his authority, but also of his love. His son walked among the people as they were. He dressed like them, ate like them, and even experienced pain and hunger like they did. As he lived with the people, he taught them about the king. He taught how good the king was, and how he desired everyone to come near him into his castle to be with him. When the people said he was lying, he demonstrated that he was the king's son in many ways. Some believed, and others mocked him for claiming he was an impostor, for the king had never done such a thing before. The son proclaimed the king was as he was, that the king was willing to be with the people, willing to forgive all that had been done in the past, so that they would come joyfully into the king's home and dine with him. Jesus closes the book and he asks me, which was the greater testimony of who the king really was, the letter or the son? The son, of course, I answer. The son could not only represent the king in the flesh, but also clearly explain to them who the king was and what the king wanted. Jesus then asks, what good was the letter? Well, I think a moment and then say, the letter was a precursor of the son, a shadow of who the king is, but the son was a full example, a mirror of the king himself. If the son did and spoke as a perfect example of his father, then the people would have known the king as well. Jesus nods and explains. Exactly. Now, why do you think people put so much emphasis on the written law when it was only a shadow of the king, whereas the son was the exact replica of him? I lean into his chest. I answer, they needed the law or the letter to know that the son was who he claimed to be, but it could never be him or the king, no matter how many words were written. A written code could never completely represent the king, not like his only son who walked faithfully and lovingly before him. Would it not be easier to look into the letter of the law than the eyes of the son or the king? I stop and I look up at my Lord. I am always drawn into Jesus' eyes because of the love, beauty, and power that radiate from them. Yet I sense anyone who does not desire to submit to him will try to flee from his gaze. I say, it is easier to deceive ourselves that we are following the law, for no one can see our heart or read our thoughts. Even today, people pick and choose what part of the law they will adhere to and to what extent. But when we truly follow you, Jesus, your presence and your spirit in our lives bring conviction in our hearts. When I stand before you, the truth of my heart is exposed. Jesus answers, now you get it, my child. The law was given as a tutor until pointing to when I would arrive and be the complete representative of my Father in heaven. A tutor is not the professor, who himself also is not, usually anyway, the creator or founder of what is being taught. Did I not say I and the Father are one? I am from the beginning. I created with the Father, called Abraham out with the Father, came to all the prophets, walked on the earth, and now sit on the throne at my Father's right hand. Can the law, the Torah, say it has done the same? No. It is only an incomplete picture of who we are. It reveals who I am and who the Father is. No one comes to the Father except through me. Have you not read how the law is fading away? And yet my words will never fade away. Child, follow me. Stay within the covenant you have accepted from me. Have patience with everyone, regardless of where they stand. Show love and compassion to them, for you were there once yourself. Jesus looks me in the eye with an intensity I feel deep within, and he says firmly, do not be like others who claim to follow me, yet cause such divisiveness within my kingdom as to shred my children to pieces. They will receive the full judgment of their condemnation upon others, I assure you. Jesus sits back and says, now, put this online, child. Many will scorn you for this. Take heart, for I have overcome the world. I will come for all that is mine soon. Here are some verses I encourage you to look at. Study Jesus. All the word is for us. All the Old Testament, the prophet and Moses and the Psalms, they all point to Jesus. He is, he was, and he is coming back. I do encourage you to subscribe. Not for me, but to get the message out. Jesus loves his people, and he desires all to come to him. May God bless you on your journey.